Do you sometimes have the feeling that the business is just not you? Your content is not flowing, your offer is not converting, and you might even wonder, what am I doing wrong? Then it might have to do not with tactics, but with owning your personality. That is why in this video, I'm going to show you the 5 elements to truly make sure that you build a business around your personality. And we will be using Jungian psychology. So what I will be using is this grid. And I got to give thanks to the 2 people who made this happen. First of all, Joseph, he made this grid. If you want to check out more, you can find him on YouTube. And Linda Behrens, who did a lot about interaction styles to figure out people, their personality type by what they do and by how they talk. You can see these 4 letters. You might know the Myers-Briggs, the MBTI. That is basically just a test that you do and then you get a summary. So the beauty, what I'm going to do is you're going to figure out your personality by elimination. I'm going to give you 5 elements to go through and you can eliminate the one you are not. And then 1 will be left. Now, when you look at this, it might be overwhelming. Don't worry, I stripped it down to 5 essential elements, and I'm going to give you specific tips that you can use as a coach or consultant to make sure you create the content, you make an offer, and you build a coaching or consulting business that totally aligns with your personality. So the first difference, just to eliminate 8 from the 16, is the difference between concrete and abstract. 80% of entrepreneurs, online coaches, and consultants, they fall into this abstract category. So how do you know if someone is a concrete or an abstract type? That's simple. You're going to listen to what people say and how they speak. If they talk about things and experiences and about what is in the present moment, they are most often a concrete type. If they talk about ideas, imaginings, thought about what if, what could happen, they are abstract types. So this is already an easy way to limit the 16 to 8 that are left. Now we're going to talk about the most practical for your business. The next element is about people versus systems. So the blue ones are personalities who prefer to work with people. The green ones are personalities who like to work with systems. And in a minute, I will also explain you how important this is for your business. Now, how can you find out how people are systems or people oriented? By watching what they do. If they are focused more on what gets results and what works, they're more pragmatic and they are system personalities. If they are rather focused on what is the good thing or proper thing, they are more affiliative. They focus on what's right and they are people personalities. So this is already an important difference. Do you prefer working with people or do you prefer working with systems? Now, as a generalization, you have a coach and you have a consultant. A coach asks questions and gets the answers from the client. The client brings the solutions. A consultant more brings tactics. They tell the client what they do and they give the solution to the client. When you're a systematic person, you probably lean more towards being a consultant. When you're more a people personality, you lean more towards being a coach. Also, when you create your offers, you might prefer just working one-on-one or more creating systems as the systematic person. And maybe as a people personality, you like more group programs, community, or membership sites. Can you see already how this shifts the way how you build your business? Now, number 3, and this one is super essential. Number 3 is all about energy direction. Now, there are huge misconceptions about introversion and about extroversion. So, very concise summary of what Jung discovered. Jung discovered that people have cognitive functions, and they are divided into perception functions, which is intuition or perception, which is the N or the P, and then decision functions, which is thinking, T, or feeling, F. So all these letters that you see, it would take me way too far to explain this. It goes super deep, but that's basically what Jung discovered, and that these functions can be outward oriented, which is extroverted, or inward oriented, which is introverted. So when you look at these letters, that these letters starts with an E or with an I. The only thing that this means in Jungian analytical depth psychology is if the first function, this first cognitive function, the strongest, most powerful function, if it's outward oriented, which is extroverted, or inward oriented, which is introverted. So for instance, with the ESTJ, you see that the biggest and most powerful cognitive function is TE, which is extroverted thinking. So because it's extroverted, that makes him an extrovert. Now, let's take an INFP here. The biggest cognitive function, the most strongest one, is FI, introverted feeling. So his first letter is an I. That's the only thing that I'm going to talk about with these 4 letters. That's all that you need to know. Another way how I can explain it is that extroverts mostly engage and initiate with the outside world. Introverts initiate and interact more with the inside world. We can often see it with introverts. Their eyes are more directed towards the inside universe. With extroverts, they are more directed towards the outside universe. It has nothing to do with being shy, for instance, which is a huge misconception. They're not necessarily shy, but their main energy is focused on one interaction with a person or interaction with their own mind. Now, why is this so important? Might be the most crucial of all the elements in this video. Most of the famous influencers that you see, they are extroverts. Gary Vaynerchuk, Anthony Robbins, Andrew Tate, Grant Cardone, they are all extroverts. They love being in the picture. That is not the case with introverts. You're more limited in content creation because have you noticed it as an introvert that you just can't keep to constantly create stories of yourself while you're walking and going through your day or constantly making selfies? That is because that is not your method of content creation. Social media by itself is a very extroverted medium. Look at me, I'm going to be in the picture. That doesn't work for introverts. They basically want their message to be in the picture. So you have less strategies for content creation as an introvert than an extrovert. I want you to remember this and play a game that you can win instead of trying to be someone who you're not. That's, for instance, why vlogs and capturing everything that you do is completely impossible for introverts. So if you're an introvert, what you should do is you should batch make recordings. You should batch make material. You should be in your separate office room and then batch make material. You mostly going to make material by yourself, not when you're interacting with the world, but you're just by yourself, you and your thoughts and the camera, a piece of paper or your fingers on the keyboard. That is the method that will work for introverts. Introverts are more like a sniper. They really go deep and zoom in. So they can zoom in on their own mind, or they can actually go pretty deep in a one-on-one conversation. The extrovert can spread their attention very wide as a kind of shotgun. So you can be very animated as an introvert, but it more has to do with zooming in and going in pretty deep. Now, this also has a big effect on your sales strategy to book calls. So if you're going to have booked calls through appointment setting, which is reaching out to people to actually get booked calls, this is a very exhausting and draining strategy for introverts because they mostly go deep with the conversations. When there's multiple conversations happening in the inbox, in the DMs, they always have to zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. So appointment setting is a very difficult task for an introvert because they get drained by having too many people, too many conversations, giving them input at the same time. So it's much better to have an organic attraction marketing strategy for introverts, or if they can invest in an appointment setter, to have somebody else do it for them. When you look at offers, extroverts have some more options in terms of what kind of offer model they want, because they are also more fit for dynamic workshops, retreats, and community aspects where they have to interact with multiple people at the same time. So yes, the game is a bit rigged for introverts. You have less options, but when you choose more of the options that do work for you, you can become immensely successful. Then the next one, which is going to be all about communication and how you interact. Do you have a direct communication style or do you have an indirect communication style? Another way of saying it is, do you have a more assertive, masculine, direct communication style, or do you have a more empathic, feminine, indirect communication style? This is also the reason why if you're a woman and you're in a direct communication style and you're like, let's say an ENTJ personality, yes, you are perceived as being more masculine because you're just more direct in your communication. But that is not a bad thing. That is just who you are. And there's only a small percentage of ENTJ women. So just own your personality. That is just who you authentically are. If you're a direct communication type, you probably lean more towards being a consultant. You tell people what to do. If you're more an indirect communication style, you're a bit more of a coach. You ask questions and you let the other person come up with the answer. How do you know there's a difference between direct and indirect? For instance, when there is no more milk in the fridge, a direct person will say, hey, can you go get some milk because there's no milk in the fridge anymore? And an indirect person will just open the fridge and say, hey, where is the milk? So it's a more indirect way of getting the answer that you want. Now we're going to delve into the last one, also super crucial one to make sure you focus on your talents. And that is talking about your preferred work focus. Now, let's take a look at these 4 types of work focus. The first one, they love to bring structure. They map out the process from A to Z. That is the top one here. The starter types, they love to initialize things, brainstorm, pass energy. They get energized by the idea of starting something new. The finisher types are the exact opposite. They get a kick out of actually finishing things, completing things. And then the background types, they just love to receive orders and then just execute. So all these 4, they work together like a puzzle piece. So if you look at business meetings, if you worked a 9 to 5, often what is that all these people are in a meeting, which shouldn't be the case. In the beginning, you should have the structure type and the starter types brainstorm and generate ideas. And then the structure types bring in a structure. Then you involve the finisher type people who love to find a way to finish that structure. And then the finisher types actually work together with the background people to make sure that the plan is completed. So look at these 4 and think, what is your gift? What is the thing that you actually love to do? That's why starter people find it hard to complete things. And often they need to work together with a structure or a finisher type because they just get energized by starting something and not completing it. Just as background types find it hard, they have the hardest time building a business because they have to be proactive and they have to do all these other things, starting, bringing structure, and finishing, while they actually are much better in just executing things. So look at these 4 and see what you're best at. Maybe you're a coach at best at starting and generating ideas. Maybe you're best a finisher, giving them the tactics to close a sale. Maybe you're best at looking at funnels and bringing the structure. Or maybe you're a consultant that's best just works out a website when people give you instructions. So this is essential. Go through these 5 different elements, then see what you score, and then use these personality insights to create your consistent content strategy that you can actually keep up, make offers that use your talents, and build a business that truly lasts. Let me know in the comments what your personality type is. I am an INTJ. Now, if you want to use more of your personality and find even more useful personality typing systems and tests to define your personality, you definitely want to check out this video where I'm going to give you some more personality tests you can check out and even give you a secret hack to make ChatGPT sound like you.